I really view my classes as, hey, this is a chance for me to make an impact on this kid. And we're going to do it through science, right? Because I think science is cool, but that's not like, I'm not a teacher for science, right? Like that's not my passion. My passion is kids. Yeah. And so like, I just want to take every day as a chance to, who can I connect with in some sort of meaningful way today that can help steer them maybe slightly in a direction that's going to be helpful for them, right? Yeah. And so we have a lot of conversations around that, a lot of heart-to-hearts of, 8th graders are going to make some mistakes, right? They're going to choose to do some things that aren't in their best interest. And so so I try to really view that as that. And as I've grown through my career, I really try to spend a lot of time with those kids that I'm like, okay, this kid needs me right now, and I'm gonna try to pour into them.
Hi, I'm Steven Racek, one of the owners and coaches here at Forge Fitness. A lot of people ask, what do we do here? Well, we focus on your longevity, meaning we focus on your health and the quality of your life as you age. So by the time you get to the end of your life, we want you to be able to do things that you want to do and enjoy. We take a lot of pride in the community that we've built, knowing that our members come for a great workout, but they stick around because of the community and friendships that they have. If interested in joining us at Forge, we offer a 7-day free trial. And you can find us at www.forgefitness.co, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram.
Hey everybody, it's another episode of the Buffalo Community Podcast. We've got an exciting guest for us today, Mr. Ben Watkins. You came in and there's a bunch of energy here, which I think is great. I mean, this is our first recording of the day. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself, give you the 30,000-foot view of who you are, and let's just start the conversation.
Yeah. So like you said, my name is Ben Watkins. I teach 8th grade science at Buffalo Community Middle School, pretty shiny position. Get a lot of accolades there. But I've been teaching there this is my 16th year and at the middle school, and been married for 17 years. I've got 5 daughters. All girls, ranging from 14 to 8. So we live out just west of Monticello, out by Lake Maria State Park. We actually live we bought a house with my in-laws, so we do a little co-generational living.
Yeah. I might ask more questions about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I've in my time in the district, spent a lot of time coaching. I've coached basketball, soccer, and tennis. We're at the varsity level, and and now I'm just teaching, and it's awesome. Just teaching, spending more time with my daughters.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So like a real girl dad, right? Like
completely
5 girls,
Yeah.
I guess you're a girl dad, but I mean not like.
Right.
Not
doesn't
like
stack
this.
up.
Is that why your hair looks so nice?
It is. Actually, my daughters were playing with my hair last night. They were like, they brought in the brush, and they were like, now we covered up your bald spot. I was like, thank you.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah. But I didn't think I was going to be a girl dad. I really thought I thought God made me to be a boy dad, right? We were going to do adventures. We were going to build stuff. We were going to wrestle.
Lift heavy things.
Exactly. Do all the guy things. And then, we had our first 3 girls, and it was kind of like, all right, I guess here we go. And then we found out we were pregnant with twins. And I was like, well, at least one of them is going to be a boy.
Right.
And then we found out they were both girls. I was like, all right, this is me.
This is it.
This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So we got kind of the picture of what the last 16, 17 years have looked like. What influenced you in those years prior, where you're from and your upbringing and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I'm from Wisconsin, and so let's go Packers.
Can we cut the noise there? There we go.
I like it. That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Eau Claire. Spent all my childhood in Eau Claire. Cool spot to be. Ended up going to Hamlin University down in St. Paul.
Go Pipers.
Really loved, Pipers. Let's go. There we go, Pipers. And ended up played soccer and tennis there, and so got to just be a part of those, and that helped shape me. Had a couple of really awesome coaches at those levels, and that was the first time I feel like I'd ever been coached well, and it was like, wow, this is awesome. These guys have kind of a transformational impact on my life and how I view sports and how I view life and that kind of thing. And met my wife at Hamlin through Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That's how we met. We were both on the leadership team there. And then we got married, and the next day we flew down to Phoenix, Arizona, and started teaching down there, actually. We joined a group called Teach for America. And so they send anybody with a college degree down into inner city tough schools where they don't have enough teachers and say, hey, we're going to train you as you go, and
Wow.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and throw you into the fire.
It was in the fire.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting topic of, kind of out of your element, kind of thrown into maybe a tough spot, but probably super rewarding as well.
It was. And here's the deal. Like all through my childhood, I did not enjoy school. And I knew that there was one career that I would never do, which is being a teacher. Like for sure. Like that was like
school every day.
The very bottom of the list. Like I was like, I do not like this. And I'm not like, how soon can I get out of school? Right. And so I went to school. I went to college to be a physical therapist. So I got my degree in biology. I had applied to grad schools and I was going to go that route. And then my wife came and we were dating at the time. She's like, I found this thing. It could be kind of cool. And we could maybe go and have an adventure. And so that was like, adventure. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, right.
And so we both applied. We both got in and we were like, all right, we can take 2 years. We'll be teachers for 2 years. That's the commitment. And so we went down and did that. And yeah, it was wild. I mean, my first week I was there. I broke up this crazy fight with 2 kids in rival gangs. And it was just like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
Because I was on my way to the teacher's lounge to put my Hot Pocket in the microwave.
Yeah.
And I look out in the soccer field. I'm like, I suppose an adult should do something about that. Crap, I'm
See if
that
we can
adult.
find an
No,
adult.
I wish I wasn't that adult.
Yeah.
And so, it was just a really different experience than my education and way different here. And so we taught for 2 years down there. I loved it. I love Phoenix and the mountains and adventure and just being outside. And the kids were awesome and just so rewarding and just like seeing how big of gains. But every day you come home and you're just like, that's all I got. I'm done. Yeah. And when I came to Buffalo and started teaching, so we moved back so we could start a family, and we wanted to be with our family. And so when I moved to Buffalo, started teaching, and it was just like at the end of the day, I'm like, this is awesome. Like I'm energized at the end of the day. I love the people I'm around. I love the families I'm with. I love the kids that we're with. They come in and they're like, they just want to connect and they want to grow, and so it's a little different experience teaching here than in Phoenix, but cool in both ways.
Yeah.
Is your wife a teacher?
She was. So she taught special ed when we were down in Phoenix. Okay. She worked at our church when we got back. And then once we had our third daughter, she was like, I think I'm going to stay at home. Yeah. And so we homeschool our kids. And so all the way throughout, my oldest daughter is a freshman in high school now. And so she's going to public school for the first time. That's our first foot in the public school realm, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, she homeschools our other 4.
We're a few months into that right now. I mean, how was that transition? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's been really... It's been a year at a time, right? And so every year we kind of reanalyze and be like, all right, is this what we are supposed to do? Who all should be in school? Who should be at home? And finally we got to a point where it's like, she needs to be in school. She loves being around people. She's just energized by people. And she was ready to make that leap. And so it's been really awesome. We just had parent teacher conferences last night. And so we got to meet her teachers, and they all said the same thing, that when she is in that class, she makes that classroom a better place. And so it's kind of like, as a parent's like, this is awesome. Like, hey, way to go, right? And she's 14, right? So every 14-year-old's going to have some struggles. And we spend a lot of time at the kitchen table doing math together. But yeah, overall, it's really good.
Well, it's great that you can have a freshman in high school and still help them with their math, because some of that stuff trickles away over the years, and you're like,
for sure.
Figure that out on yourself. I mean, I could help you. But
there have been a few problems where I'm like, I'm going to go check this out somewhere on my phone and try to figure out how to do this again. But it is. But it's been really awesome. We're solving problems together, and we're just trying to figure out how to get there. And,
So biology major in college. Now, naturally, you're teaching science to middle schoolers. What do you cover in the middle school level in terms of your science classes, and how do you I would imagine it's not just science, but also just making kids better people in relation, how do you tie all of those things together?
Yeah, for sure. So my first 14 years, 8th grade science was earth science. All right. And so we're talking earth, space, weather, all of that stuff. And so I just got to learn to love that. I wasn't interested in earth science when I was in school, but when I was teaching, I was like, this is awesome, right? The earth is amazing. Just think about all these beautiful and crazy places. Let's learn about how they got that way. And so I love that. And now these last 2 years, the state actually switched the science standards. And so now 8th grade science is physical science and chemistry. And so I kind of had to go back to my my science background. And I've got a colleague, Paul Lundberg, who has really carried the team the last couple of years where he's a physical science guy. And so it's really helped us out a lot. But it's fun too, right? We're learning about the periodic table now and elements and bonding and forces. And so we're building rockets and we're building roller coasters and we're building coolers. And that part of it is like, this is sweet. Everything we learn, we get to do something.
We should be like Mike Rowe and go back to do some of these classes just to enjoy some of that fun stuff.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Get in here. We can audit, right?
Yeah, right.
We're going to audit the 8th grade science.
And like, we'd probably be very humbled on some of these math problems, to be quite honest with you.
I think you get to a certain age where you know, when you're in the grind, K through 12, it's just what you have to do, right? Then you get out of school and you're like, you know what? I think if I did that now, I would actually be interested in it.
For sure, right? And I view geography like that. I view history like that. And I view like all these classes that maybe I didn't take as seriously as I should have. And I'm like, wow, I really want to know about that. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
But like you said, though, it really is. I mean, I really view my classes as, hey, this is a chance for me to make an impact on this kid. And we're going to do it through science, right? Because I think science is cool, but that's not like, I'm not a teacher for science, right? Like that's not my passion. My passion is kids. And so like, I just want to take every day as a chance to, who can I connect with in some sort of meaningful way today that can help steer them maybe slightly in a direction that's going to be helpful for them, right? And so we have a lot of conversations around that, a lot of heart-to-hearts of, 8th graders are going to make some mistakes, right? They're going to choose to do some things that aren't in their best interest. And so I try to really view that as that. And as I've grown through my career, I really try to spend a lot of time with those kids that I'm like, okay, this kid needs me right now, and I'm gonna try to pour into them.
I think the first time I heard you speak, I mean, that was a lot of that theme. And you said it earlier. Was it when you went to Hamlin, or was it in high school that those coaches they finally kind of made that click of like, oh, this is different. You know, do you feel that was a turning point of kind of like to that major jumping off point to shape you into that of being more Jimmy needs more than just earth science right now. Jimmy needs somebody to listen to. Somebody to listen to him because one, we do some volunteering as well. I mean, I think people would be surprised on what kids are going through, and they have no clue. I mean, and that goes with adults as well. Yeah. But I mean, is that really just kind of what drives you? Is just, I mean,
transformation.
That transformation.
It is, yeah. I just want, because I know like as they're going through life, right? I mean, they're going to do the best they can. Right? With what they know how, right? Parents, kids, everybody, right? They're just like, this is the best I've got right now, and I'm going to give you everything, but it might not be enough. Right. And so our job is, right, to just to pour into them, give them more options for what their future can look like. And so, I think my coaches had a big deal in that. My tennis coach in college, his name was Dan Hartle. That was one of the first times where I realized, like, I am way more than just a tennis player to this guy. Like he cares way more about me than he does about me winning this match right now. Right. And even though this match might have an impact on his job. And so same thing with my soccer coach. And so when I became an FCA leader in college, that probably was the first time I saw a shift where I'm like, I could pour into this kid who's struggling right now. Like I could offer him something that maybe he doesn't have. And really for me, man, there's a lot of ways I can attack that. I mean, for me, my life has been changed by Jesus. And so that's like what I have to offer. Yeah. And it's not always like in your face or anything like that, but that's where my joy comes from. That's where everything that I have comes from. So
I love it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Let's get a little bit on, talk teaching a little bit about your family. What does the Watkins family do for fun? What makes you tick?
It's kind of weird. So we lived in town here in Buffalo for like 9 years, had awesome neighbors. It was sweet, but we just wondered, hey, is there maybe something more in terms of where we could live to really make this homeschool thing a really awesome experience for our kids? And so this property came up for sale out in Silver Creek. And so we looked at it with my wife's parents and we were like, this would be pretty cool. And so we bought it together and we moved in together. And a lot of people are like, you live with your wife's parents, huh? That's
brave.
That's brave, right? Like, how do you do that? But it's been fantastic. It's so good, right? Because we've got 4 adults that can help make things happen. Yeah. We have kind of a little hobby farm, right? We got 8 goats right now. We got 24 chickens. We got ducks. We got dogs. We got cats. It's just such a weird life compared to what I lived. And it's not the life that I thought that I was going to be living.
You're teaching, you're on a hobby farm.
And then I go out and milk goats, and it's just what is going on right now? I don't do a lot of milking. But my
father-in-law does. Hey, can you get out there?
Right. And so it's a really cool thing, right? And so my girls love the animals for the most part. So really our life, we take care of the animals. We try to love people, right? Well, and bring people in, our family, friends. And we love to just go on adventures as well. We like to go and explore, national parks and things like that, especially during the summer. On a daily basis, just getting outside. We built a big zip line on our property, and we're working on a tree house right now. We just got it roofed, and so my girls
Silver Creek, right?
Silver Creek,
okay,
right? I
know.
It's Friday.
Hey, Luke, find out where this guy lives. When school gets out at 2:30.
You're gonna see Tyler and all
just going down.
That's really awesome. And the part I kind of go back and kind of connect with is the passion with the kids is you might not know when that is a changing point in their life. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're pouring on them, and it may not seem like it's fitting, but 10 years from now, they're going to go back gosh, Mr. Watkins, he changed my life, even though he might not have said that. And I have a coach very similar like that. And I'm going to share a story. And I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast before, but I think it was 13 or something like that. He's a wrestling coach, and we did a high ropes course, and we get up, which felt like 40 feet in the air. It was probably 15, to be quite honest, but it felt like 40 feet in the air. Now you're in a safety harness, everything. You're climbing up there, and it's a group of kids. And you're trying to climb up on this cargo net, and then you stand up. And I said, I can't do it. Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. You can't. You're going to regret it the second you come down. I said, no, I can't do it. I can't come down, and I put my foot on the ground. I said, I want to try again. He goes, nope, you had your shot here. And I was like, oh man. And I held that with me, and it's kind of allowed me to take more risks and go that next step for the rest of my life. And I reconnected with him when we started coaching, and he was still coaching, in a different school, and we were coaching against each other. And I told him that story, and he goes, dude, let it go. It's been 20 years. I said, that shaped my life. I said, I tell some of my athletes and that multiple times a year. I said, it shaped me. But he had no idea about that. He goes, what? It was I said, no, that really shaped me. So it was like, and he had no idea for 20 years. And I try and do the same thing with these, kids that we coach, but I can see that and feel that and that connection, which I think is just really great. And then when we're in the middle school, all of the kids that come by is you bring that energy, which makes me happy. On anything. Are you the type of teacher that knows all the kids' names?
I know my kids' names. I try to know
your students. Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of my goal is really within the first week, right? So I've got usually about 150, 160 students in a year. Wow. And so my goal for the first week is all right, by the end of this week, I'm going to know your name. Yeah. I just think it's important, right? Where it's just you know them. And that's your ticket into their life it starts with their name. Yeah. Right. And so just being able to see them. And then through FCA at the middle school, through sports, through so I help lead a program called WEB, which is it's called Where Everybody Belongs. And so it's 8th grade mentoring 6th graders. Yeah. And so I get to know a lot of kids through that. And so just different avenues and try to hold on to the names. It's harder now than it was 16 years ago. But but for the most part it is. And like you kind of touched on this, middle school and for sure elementary school is it's planting seeds. And it's it's hard, right? Because you want to see those things start growing. You want to see the results. You want to see that right away. And you don't. Yeah. But now that I'm 16 years in, now I can actually see oh, wow. All right. I've got kids that come back and, and say things every once in a while. And I'm lucky because they do. Not all teachers do. And I can see how it's it's hard to keep going. if you don't get to see that kind of feedback all the time.
Yeah.
And so, like a Trayton Welch, right? And from them, so I was just talking my prime time, right? Prime time's our homeroom. We have them all 3 years, and Trayton, I got lucky enough to have Trayton in my prime time. So we just went to his wedding this past summer, and it was just like, cool. This is awesome, right? To see like, hey, and he's a unique one, but really just kids coming back and saying hi. And I've got former students that are my main substitute teachers now that I call and say, hey, what are you doing? You want to come in and substitute for me?
Is it wild to think that? Like, I mean, like those first students, they're pushing 30 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
right. It's so crazy,
that's
right?
Some great math.
Yeah. That's why I guessed it.
Right at 30, right? And so, right. And they're all getting married. They're all, having kids. I haven't had any kids of my students yet, and I know some of my colleagues have, and that's when it's just gonna be like, holy cow, where it's coming full circle. But
I know John Holtz has talked about the file of notes and letters that he gets from students, and sometimes when you feel like a failure or you feel like things aren't, you just grab that file and you pull out a note or a letter and you go boom, you just get that reminder of this is why I do what I do. And
for sure,
I think that's awesome. I would tell every teacher to hang on to some of those things because all of us in our daily lives are going to feel like a failure at some point, right? Parents, employees, employers, right? We're not always a 10.
Right. And we need those notes. And we need each other. Right. To like pick each other up, because we're not always going to be here, but somebody's going to be here. Right. And so when you're here, man, pull somebody up with you to try to get there. And and as a teacher, like for me, I really try hard, because at the middle school, I spent some time in some elementary schools this year, and all those elementary school students are so happy to see their principal, and they're so happy to see their teachers. And that changes in middle school, right? And where they're not going to be willing to go ahead and say, Mr. Watkins, hey, right? That ends, but I can be that guy. And they still want that. They don't want to show it anymore, but they still want you to be excited to see them. And it's really hard to do as a middle schooler because they don't want to show you. But at the end of the year, usually they come around, they're like, you know what I really appreciated? You were always excited to see me. And that made a difference. And so I'm like, all right, I got to hold on to that. Even when it's just like, even when they walk by me, when I say hi to them, like, I'm going to keep doing it. Right. Exactly.
It's so embarrassing.
That guy with the beard keeps saying hi.
My name? Oh, weird.
Is that your dad? No, it's a science teacher.
No, that's, one, you're going back into school this morning. So we want to thank you for your time, love to have you on again, because I just love the conversation. It's great. I like listening to you. But if you were to tell any one of our 250,000 viewers,
250-ish,
250-ish thousand, kind of what would you leave with them? The importance of just the rest of your day.
I go back to school. My next class is my college and career prep class. And I love having that class because it can be like, let's talk about life. You know what? Like, what do you really need to know right now? Because they get frustrated when they're in their core subjects all the time. Like, when am I going to need to know this? And so I love the chance of being like, here's the trajectory you're on right now. Is that where you want to go? Or is that not where you want to go? And if you don't, then let's talk about how you get to the place where you want to be. And so, going back, it's, it's Friday at a middle school, things are going to be crazy. We have our fall activity night tonight. And so there's going to be some dancing, there's going to be some basketball that's played after school and all that. And so, that'll be a lot of fun. We got a bunch of teachers jumping in together to kind of help out with that. But there's just so much positive stuff. And really, it's like, I'm so thankful for our leaders too, like at the middle school level, like Mr. Lubin, Mr. Hayden, Ms. Gold, like, we just have positive leadership from the top down, and it creates a culture that you want to be in. And so then it breeds some really good stuff. And so for me going back, it's all about how do we keep going? Let's make this an awesome place. And every single day, just make it a little bit better.
Sure. So that zip line should be open from about 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Yep. We'll get you guys harnessed in.
By time
you have to wear a harness. Like it's like 30 feet. It's legit. And it's 350 feet long.
You're traveling.
You better be ready. You're probably going 25 miles an hour on that thing.
Buckle up. That is so cool.
Yep.
Great. That's awesome.
It's good.
Ben, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler Reiss.
I'm Mark Benzer.
And I'm Ben Watkins.
That was the smoothest transition we've had on a guest right there.
Is that right?
Everybody's like, oh, yeah, I'm so-and-so. I'm Buffalo. Because we never prep them.
Thanks for listening to the Buffalo Community Podcast. produced by Edlund Media. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube, as well as anywhere you listen to podcasts.